and he was telling a story about how he found his father's stash of pornography, and he and his dad bonded over that moment. And when I was 9, I found my dad's stash of pornography. Now, we didn't bond over that moment, but that's when I discovered that my father was gay. Timmy and Tommy Tango is not an instructional dance video, no matter how many times you watch it. But I'm getting older. I don't like getting older. I turned 64 last month, and people ask me, "Oh, do you have a party? Did you celebrate?" My age, it's no longer a celebration. It's more of a countdown. Now, I say that because 63 gave me some terrible, terrible things like erectile dysfunction. You guys are done eating, right? The next one's gross. Anal leakage. But the worst thing is I saw myself naked in front of a full-length mirror. Go ahead, please. And gravity's not been good to my balls. I actually screamed when I saw them last year. And I don't know if you guys remember that toy, the clackers, the 2 balls at the end of the string. It's kind of what they look like. I had a little model of them, but I need to lengthen the string. It's too short. But, my brain still works. My mind is as sharp as a... Anyway, I did a show where they asked the comics, what was the worst advice you ever got? I remember like it was yesterday. It was 30 years ago. And I was going out with a woman, and my roommate said, "Listen, you're going to get lucky, you're going to get laid, don't use protection. Penicillin cures everything." No, it doesn't. And what doesn't cure is that 30-year-old kid that still runs around my house calling me dad. I'm getting some new things, even at 64. I got my first tit pic on my phone. Has anybody ever gotten a tit pic? Just me? It wasn't even from somebody I was dating. It was from a woman. She was a friend. She was in the hospital. She asked me to bring her a sandwich, which I did. 2 days later, I get a tit pic. I said, "Thank you. Why?" She said, "I just want to thank you for bringing me food." I thought to myself, if I sent a dick pic to everybody that's ever brought me food, I'd still be in prison. Oh gosh. So you guys are tax accountants? Okay. Yeah. I'm going to assume you are. So when I was in Villanova, I actually got sent down to the administrator's office, which was like getting sent down to the principal's office for shouting something out. I don't know. There's a tax case. I don't remember what it's about, but it's called the OTAY case, O-T-A-Y. And when the professor started talking about it, the first thing I could think of is Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live going, "But we'd say OTAY." And I did that out loud, and they sent me to the principal's office. And this is adult school. These were all practicing accountants and lawyers. I just couldn't help myself. But I am a bit of a prankster. I do silly things like go to Wawa on Dollar Coffee Day and buy a box of coffee for $1.
Does it actually work
Because
that way?
there was nothing that said cup or ounces. It said any size, and a box is a size. So I got a box of coffee for $1. Then I got banned from Wawa. You might have seen my picture up there. This guy looks familiar. He knows on TV now. He's been posters in Wawa for being banned for getting a box of coffee for $1. But I'm dating now. Dating a very nice woman. She's half Italian and half Polish, which means she knows how to cook. She just doesn't know what to cook. The other night she made ravioli and chocolate sauce, which was disgusting. But I ate it anyway because I want to keep her happy. But I was on the dating sites before I met her. I got kicked off of all of the dating sites, every single one of them, for telling the truth. I don't know if you guys can see, I'm a short guy, 5'5", 5'6". I consider myself a sawed-off Guido. And, I can't stand the tall women on those sites that say, if you're not as tall as me, don't send me a message. So I send them a message. And this is the message I send them. Listen, I'm not as tall as you, but I have a really big dick, and I can give you the ride of your life. They report me, I get kicked off the site. One woman, beautiful, 6'3", reaches out. I said, "Baby, what would you do to me with that big dick?" I said, "I would climb you like a tree, I would make you see God, and I'd have you screaming for more." I said, "Baby, that sounds real nice. Now, what are you gonna let me do to you if my dick's bigger? So I report her to the service for false advertising, and they kicked me off the site. Oh gosh. So let's see. I'm done with the accounting jokes. I don't. It was a long time ago, but I remember that OT case thing. But I've can I go back? Are we good with titty jokes? Can I do another one?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Has anybody ever gotten a titty whipping? Just me again? Now, I'm not talking about a motorboat, you know, I'm talking about a full-fledged frontal facial assault with a pair of boxing glove style titties. Just me? So,
Not yet.
my family owned a diner, and my mother used to piss off some of the employees. And what happened is, she pissed off the head cook one night, and I said, if this guy doesn't come tomorrow, I'm gonna have to do his job and my job. So I tracked him down to a strip club. He's getting a lap dance. I talked to him, he said, oh, that'll be tomorrow. Stripper gets up, comes walking over to me. I said, no, I'm not here for any of this. He said, I think you need a titty whipping. And like a 3D movie, these things just engulfed my head, shook me like a shark. You know, do you ever see Shark Week, how shark rips apart? My glasses went flying. You know, it was nasty, it was nasty. And then the next thing I remember, I was sitting in the ambulance and they were going over my injuries. I had a dislocated jaw, a broken nose, and 2 black eyes. And when my ex-wife saw that report, that's when she divorced me and why she's my ex-wife. Oh gosh. So, another question. Has anybody ever gotten hotboxed?
Wait, is that what the movie?
That's like when you get a contact high?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I don't smoke pot, I don't do drugs, I don't drink, but I worked in a club where they were allowed to smoke pot, there was no ventilation. And I didn't know what was going on, I felt weird, I got high. I do the stupid thing, I get in my car and I try to drive home. And I live 30 minutes from this venue. 3 hours later, I'm on the Garden State Parkway, I'm down the South Street, I don't know where I'm at. So I pull over for a little while. Finally say, okay, let me put my address into my GPS, which I did. Hit start. It said you've arrived at your destination. I was sitting in my own driveway for the last half hour. So I did not like that feeling. Oh gosh. So I went to I'll have to tell you this story first. When I was a little kid, my mother thought I was really stupid and that I didn't know my name. So she buys me this ridiculous shirt that says, hello, my name is Joseph John. When I think about this, she was serving me up to the pedophiles on a silver platter with this stupid shirt. So like an idiot, I wear the shirt to school one day and I'm walking home. This weird guy in the van comes up and says, hey, Joseph John, why don't you get in the van? I've got some candy. Hey, Joseph John, why don't you get in the van? I've got a puppy. I didn't know who he was talking to. My mother was right. I didn't know my name. Oh gosh, so I go to a gym, and for some reason they all think I'm gay. I don't know why, probably because I drive a Subaru Outback, but last year during Pride Month they were putting these stickers on my car. I'm so gay I can't drive straight, I love my butt plug, all this nasty stuff. I knew they were putting them on, I would take them off. The first one, I didn't know was on my car. So I drive home, 4 cars following into my driveway. I don't know what's going on. Guy gets out of the car, he says, is this the bar? What are you talking about? Points to my bumper and says, is this the bar? They put a sticker that said, follow me to the gay bar. These guys follow me home. So I said, I'm sorry, no, this isn't a gay bar, this is my house. He said, oh, we're gonna have a little bit of fun with you in the bathroom or bedroom tonight, aren't we? And I'm like, you know, I probably should have been worried that 4 strange guys are about to do some nasty stuff to me in my own house, but I'm Italian. And I didn't have any food in the house, and I'm thinking, how am I going to feed these guys after they do to me what they're going to do to me? So we ordered some pizza and have some new friends. Gosh. So I did go to Fort Lauderdale, Florida about a year ago by myself, and I was getting bored hanging around the pool, so I did a little sightseeing. And I came across this little town called Wilton Manors. Has anybody ever heard of Wilton Manors? Of course not. Second gayest town in America. Now, you know, like I said, I'm not gay, but, you know, I was curious, so I went into a gay bar. And I had a drink and I was minding my own business. And this guy comes up to me. He says, how much? How much what? How much hair do you have under that shirt? Nobody's ever asked me this question before. I had no idea how to answer it. So I figured I'd just show him. So I lift my shirt and I show him. This guy starts petting me. I figured, all right, I'll be his little Italian sheer pet for a while. Maybe I'll get a free drink. But I said, not below the equator. I'm not gay. He said, sweetie, if you ever want to switch teams, you give me a call. I'd love to be your coach. He gives me his phone number and starts to walk away. As he's walking away, he looks back at me and said, when you were a little kid, did you have a shirt that said, hello, my name is Joseph John? He showed me a picture of the puppy. Look at that puppy. Oh, gosh. But, oh my. So I did a show last night in Maryland, or Delaware, and I was the headliner, so that means I went on last. And the first 5 minutes, it was crickets. People were laughing. So I finally, when I got on, I said, thank you guys so much for laughing for about 5 minutes. I was worried that you didn't speak English, and I don't do comedy in English, so this would have been an ugly night. So that was, yeah, that was interesting. That was, you know, sometimes you get that, but you know, sometimes you have to ask if people speak English because they just look at you dead, you know, like that in the face. And that happened to me once. My manager booked me into a show that was a whole non-English speaking group. It made no sense, but I guess you had to be there for that one. Well, all right, guys, I'm going to bring on your headliner. Thank you so much. You've been great. I'd like to bring on the wonderful Max Sheppard.
All right, guys, don't get too close. So, you know, coming down here, I came here from New York City. I can't get too close over there. You guys can all hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting coming out here. I kept thinking taxidermy, you know, what's going to happen to us? Because there were winding roads. There was no one on the roads. Is this COVID again? You know, it was crazy. It was crazy. And Darcy, I give it up for Darcy. She did a lot to get me here. I remember joking saying, was I number 50, the only one that said yes? You know, out here, it took 5 hours. It was pouring rain. I told off this bus driver from Manhattan to Philadelphia. You know, yeah, that was interesting. You saw, what was it, that movie with Tom Hanks and the pirates? What was it, Philip, Captain Philip? You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Well, the guy was a Somalian pirate who was running this bus. So he was like, look at me, I'm the captain. You know, I'm like, no, you're an asshole. I almost got thrown off the bus on the way here. So just so you know, and it was pouring rain. Did you guys get that rain? The monsoon through here? Yeah. I was afraid for you guys because like there were wires going through, and I said, if one wire cuts in this area, you guys are dead for 2 weeks, right? And then like all the houses coming around here, it was amazing. This was like culture shock, you know. I remember going to like outhouses when I was a kid, and having those smelly markers, you know, the chocolate and the cherry markers, and like going in there so I didn't smell the outhouse. I saw outhouses coming over here, you know. I saw cows coming out here. And none of this is surprising. You know, these people have guns out here. What's gonna happen? Like, what's gonna happen to us? So we joked about that the whole way here. I'm so glad we got here, and you guys are absolutely fabulous. And you're sharing your food and your event. And I wrote a ton of jokes for you. For Darcy said accounting jokes. So you ready for that? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So April 16th came, right? And everybody's coming for extensions, right? Like more, I heard that. Oh, extensions! Oh, God, you're like, you want extension? The only extension you're gonna get is a penis extension. Like, oh no, extension. Like, stimulus. Okay, I'm gonna let go with the extensions. Stimulus came and gone. I didn't want to get you over there. Stimulus came and gone, and like, I was in Iceland while people were getting stimulus, and the people, the expatriates, were all getting stimulus. I didn't get one bit of stimulus. Like, I have not been stimulated for years. Okay, Not one bit. I said, this is something wrong here. Like, I could use a little stimulus and extension, you know, for my PPP. So, all right. My last boyfriend, he unfortunately died last February, and yes, I gave CPR to the wrong head and he died. But when we started to go out, first thing I did, don't date an accountant. I mean, don't date, well, that's true. I lost my boyfriend and my accountant, so I had to find both. But if you date a comedian, you're gonna get jokes, all right? All of you, remember that, because I'm the worst person to date. So the first thing that happened when I took off my clothes is he said, oh, you got a lot of depreciation there. He says, show me your ass. So I turned around and he said, no, I said assets. And I kept thinking, you know, this guy's constantly looking for a return on investment. So I said, I'm worth more dead than I am alive. So if I wanted to turn him on, I would just play dead. He says, I'm gonna do your taxes pro bono. I was like, oh, if I can get a bono out of you, that would be amazing. He had a boat. It was called Adjustment. I'm not kidding about this. So I thought, you know, if it was called evasion, the IRS would really come after him. He made me feel cheap sometimes. You know, he would say, like, when he was inside, he'd say, this is a charitable contribution. He was cheap, though. He was honestly, like, everyone says, I'm not saying you guys aren't, but he was, honestly, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you know, I'd say, if I want a ring, and he'd get a cock ring. I think he got his Viagra at the dollar store. No, I really mean, and it was called Happy Minute. Like, well, who gets it? You know. And I also think it was a placebo because it was located between the laxative and the candy aisle, right? So, you know, he tasted like candy. He tasted sweet, and he was wearing a diaper. I don't know. But when I really didn't want to fool around with him, I would put on a mask that looked like his ex-wife. So he'd start choking me. And it was not that, great, you know. But then, when he started saying, I want my child support back, that's when I drew the line. He was 70, okay, so we had a couple of years between us. His name was Jerry, for geriatric. And our safe word was vertigo. So we got up. We were just like kind of dizzy. And, you know, ice cream and whipped cream were not something that we talked lightly about because it was more about, instead of sexy, it was more about diabetes. Yeah, that was Jerry, and he was a good person. He really was. I mean, let me tell you, he dated a killer pussy. Here, that's it. That's all I can write. So also, you know, I thought about on the way here, like we can write off our kids, right? We house them, we feed them, we educate them, we can take them off as write-offs. But today, why can't we take off our animals? Like, why can't we write off our animals? Like, we house them, we feed them, we dress them, right? We have all this, and, you know, they treat us better. They give us more pleasure. No offense to kids. I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, a lot of our animals identify as children, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I called up my girlfriend. She works in IT all night, so when I have insomnia, I call her up. Any of you have insomnia? I know a girl you can call. Okay? She works from 11 to 7 in the morning in IT International. And her dog's like snoring in the background. I'm like, what is that noise? And she's, well, my dog identifies as a pig. I'm like, really? You understand what I'm talking about here? Okay. Gen Z here? All right. So yeah, so I figured out there's a loophole. Right? Uh-oh. So if
Joe Montana.
this guy's been great all night. And so if we make the dog a service dog, then it's a medical need, right? So is that the loophole in the tax books? No? No? It should be,
It's
right?
iffy, but there is literature on it.
Okay, it's a gray area.
You're getting too technical
There's a lot
with
of
these
gray
guys.
areas.
They're like,
Gray
listen.
They change the tax laws every year. Who knows? You can't get the IRS on the phone anyway, right?
No, no,
Oh no, so it doesn't matter.
Not until after taxes are done.
Exactly, try to get them on the phone, right?
You check all of them.
So, oh wow, I got you guys going. My name's Max, and I guess you expected like a boy or a German Shepherd. The thing is, my family's Jewish, and in the Jewish tradition, we name after someone who's died, some loved ones that died. So I said to my mom, why did you name me Max? And she said, well, we had a dog, and we loved very much. I said, okay, well, instead of pennies, I got bones. You know, sometimes I'd get a treat. That was okay. So there used to be a commercial, and it was Alpo had a dog named Max in the commercial, and said, maybe Max has been around so long since Alpo's been around so long. So my sister used to say this all the time. It really pissed me off. So I peed on her leg. There was a couple other things that, like whenever somebody would pass and they'd say, that bitch, I knew who they were talking about. And I'm not really like a dog. I mean, I only howl twice a month, once during full moon, and the second time during great hot sex. Okay, and there's usually nobody there to hear me.
Wait, you only do it once a month?
I'm lucky, right? Now that my boyfriend died, I want to find a new accountant.
No, listen, I understand. My husband's in New York right now. Working.
He's working?
Yeah,
He's working?
he's doing roofing with my brother-in-law.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe your brother-in-law is available. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I don't want to know. We're all friends here, right? Everybody. I actually congratulate you all here because you probably will all want to leave the country after April 15th, right? Is that the time to leave? Get out? Survive? Yeah.
We waited until the 30th, but yeah, we all went.
I heard that. You went to Florida, Disney World, all kinds of stuff. Those naked islands, crazy. Right? All on this guy's dime, right? Family business. All right. So, what else I want to tell you about? Okay. So, another thing that Jews do is they have a ceremony called a bris. It's for the circumcision of the child. And my son's bris was on the dining room table, so like past Jello bowl side. And during Thanksgiving, it was like, are these really beef tips? So the guy who does the circumcision is called the moil, and so he puts his finger in. Well, he cuts the skin off. He puts his finger in the wine. He touches the penis to sterilize it, and then he puts his finger in his mouth. And it's like, what is this? Like a wine tasting with a schmeckel? Like what are we doing here? I mean, at least the priests wait till they're old enough, It's old enough to drink. I mean, maybe I should have served baby veal, baby veal.
Not always. They just got somebody in trouble down in
Don't tell that to me. We just got a new pope. Stop. He's from Chicago. He's got connections, this pope.
He's a White Sox fan. Chicago Pope.
Is that right? He's
a White Sox fan.
Okay, all right. It's going to be fun watching the next game, right? The next game. So,
No
yeah.
one watches.
Joe Montana back there. Keep it up.
Thank you, Joe.
So, I told you I live in Manhattan, right? So we've got our own wilderness. We've got roaches, we've got rats, we've got pigeons. We've got our own, these are our own this is my wilderness. And on the subways, has anybody been on the subways lately? No? Not lately? Or you come out here and some people.
We go, we
you
travel.
watch- What was that?
It's very easy to get on the wrong train.
It's easy to get on the wrong train? I'll give you an app for that.
Yeah, well, they're on straight now, they won't go anywhere.
So on the subways, we have migrant children that are selling candy, you know, chocolate, chicles, chocolates, and I'm like, these guys are so entrepreneurial at such a young age, you know, it's amazing. Like our American kids, they're not doing that, they're playing video games, you know.
In school I did. I sold gum at Funday so that I had
Okay, she's our entrepreneur in here. Okay, she's gonna be the next business owner, keep that in mind, okay, she's selling chocolate, what else did you sell?
I sold pieces of gum for 10 cents a piece, and sometimes school would just give me $1 and say keep it.
Okay, alright, she got tips too, look at that, alright. I think you've got a career in something.
Well, yeah, I waited until they sold out before I started selling pieces of gum.
Whose daughter are you? You're a proud mom.
The one chugging beer over it.
To be fair, she was a single mom of 4, so I had to do my part.
Okay. Well, she helps keep afloat. You gotta keep them all working here, okay? Keep them all working. So I live in Hell's Kitchen, right? You know, we've heard of that, right? It is Hell's Kitchen. It's Daredevil. Is that what you said? Oh, okay. Yeah, the show. I'm a little old for that, but yeah, I get it. I saw part of it. How many of you are millennials here? How many of you are parents of millennials? Some of you are parents of millennials. Nobody admits to being a millennial.
I guess our parents are millennials.
What's a millennial? I have a millennial kid. He's 30. That's a millennial.
We're in between you guys and millennials.
Okay, so we got baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z. That's how it works.
You're not a Gen.
We're parents. So when I start talking about millennials, when I start trashing millennials, you guys know who I'm talking about. This guy with his hands folded, he's a millennial. I can see it right now. So, millennials ruined Halloween, all right? And why did they ruin Halloween? Because they're dressing up their dogs like something else, like people, and people are dressing up like dogs. And so I don't know whether to give chocolate to the people or the dogs. I don't know whether to give peanut butter to the people or the dogs. So if I mix it up during Halloween, guess what? We're gonna have a lot of dead dogs and people. I mean, like, they ruined. I'll tell you what else they ruined. I've got issues with millennials. I have a 30-year-old. I can trash him. He doesn't talk to me anymore. So I'll never see grandchildren. But there's another thing they ruined. They ruined zoos. All right. They boycotted the zoos. Did you know this? Like, oh my God, it's terrible to keep animals in captivity. Oh. We can't keep animals in cages, we can't keep them in captivity, there's no more Shamu out there. It's ruined things. I mean, we don't even have, Ringling Brothers anymore? I tried out for Ringling Brothers, by the way. I wanted to be a clown when I was 15. I did try, it's one other college I didn't get into. But, no, you can't get into clown college, you're in trouble, right? Sarasota, Florida. But anyway, Ringling Brothers doesn't exist. Cirque du Soleil exists, the people who have their head in their ass thing. But, yeah. So the millennials ruin this. How did they ruin zoos? Okay, you guys are millennials. You guys get it, right? You're sensitive. How did you get? Do you believe in zoos? Do you think the animals should be in captivity? Huh? Tell me. No, we don't want to do that. But guess what? Animals in captivity live longer in captivity. Animals that are on the brink of extinction live longer. So why wouldn't you want to keep the last rhinoceros, the chubby unicorn, in a zoo, right? Like, I have issues with that, I don't know. I mean, I get it. They like sanctuaries. Their parents' home is a sanctuary, in fact. So much so they don't want to move out. Right? They have squatting rights. Is that right? Come on. No? You guys are smiling. Yes. How many of you live home? You can't
That's
get rid of
awesome. You're awesome. 80% of them are mad at you right now. They're looking at you like, wow, motherfucker. You're talking to the wrong crowd right now. I know. I got a bad laugh. I'm noxious. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You're pissing everybody off.
So, you know, I get it, you know, but if these animals were outside, they'd have poachers, right? If they were out in the wild, they would die. Yes? So keeping them in a zoo is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I miss the zoos. They're closing down zoos. People don't want to go to petting zoos anymore. I'm upset. What are you going to do with these unhoused animals? That's what I want to know. We can't get rid of, but we can't take care of unhoused people. What are we going to do with unhoused animals? So, you know, just think about this. So, I you know, it's a thing. Okay, you guys keep staying in here. By the way, a small fact, because I'm a big zoo person. I love zoos. I mean, San Diego Zoo is like my favorite. I love cloning. They're all into cloning, you know. It's amazing. If you get to go out there, it's... Here we go. He agrees. He completely agrees.
Great weather.
So, one of the things I learned in the kids, a little tidbit, is that the giraffes, for every foot that a giraffe grows, his tongue grows 1 inch. Did you guys know this? It's amazing. You ever see a giraffe's tongue? It's like 10 inches. Like if that works with humans, I heard an orgasm back there. If that works with humans, we'd all be going to basketball games, right?
Now you make them all happy.
They also put apes on birth control because they tend to want to have sex with each other's, you know, family, and they don't want to have problem apes, you know, Anyway, I'm pro-choice, okay? I think, you know, you should choose whether you want to have birth control or not, but, you know, the northern zoos put the apes on birth control, the southern zoos decide not to. Alright, I have bad memory, so I got my notes here, guys. Alright, so COVID, we're going to COVID, because there was a lot going on in COVID. You guys remember COVID? It was 5 years ago. Some of you look too young to remember COVID. Try not to remember COVID. Well, out here, you're in isolation, so like every day is COVID, but...
They didn't put any of, like, they didn't, like, the cops did not make you, even though everywhere around Oklahoma City would charge, like, you get fined $600 for not wearing a mask, nobody listens
This is the most number of people I've seen in like 50 miles, okay?
Actually going to Walmart.
Okay, alright, well, you're all
Check out the
family, it
local
doesn't matter.
Walmart.
I mean, yeah. So, oh wow, okay, we'll go back to COVID. Oh my God. So, COVID increased my alcohol tolerance. I can now drink 100 proof hand sanitizer. Some of the things that people did ridiculous during COVID, and no offense to anybody who's done this, okay, so don't take it too far. Don't kill me by the time I leave here, or skin me, or taxidermy or anything. People adopted rescues during COVID, especially in New York City. All over, like wherever you saw a lot of people that were lonely. You guys are used to being lonely, but out there, they can't handle it. They can't handle being alone. So everybody adopted rescue. You couldn't get a rescue. You couldn't get an animal. You couldn't get a dog. All the dogs were gone. And these are rescues that have been tortured, abandoned. You know, these are dogs that have been put in places. So they made them emotional support animals. Okay? That's like filling the gap of your life. The gap in your life with a crack baby. Like, I'm lonely, and you get a dog that is just, you know, terrorizing you. Oh, that's a good idea, right? I could not have an emotional support animal because I'm an emotional eater. And I just might eat that animal. Like, I go to a restaurant, Greek restaurant, okay, you know your job here, you know, I brought my own. I'll give you an example. I was on a plane going to the Ukraine, and they had an emotional support goat sit right next to me. Can you imagine this? And I'm looking at this and I go, if this plane goes down and I survive, I want emotional support gyros. So yeah. Another thing that people did during COVID is they fed the deer. You guys have deer out here?
Yeah.
A little bit?
You guys
A
want
little
that?
bit?
No.
One
west.
Yeah, a couple
They play
deer.
chicken with your paw.
One or two? I mean, I didn't see many on the road. I don't know, people go, they take their own, roadkill out here. I didn't see any. They picked it off the road, hey, I killed it.
They do take their own roadkill.
I think it's
What'd you think you had for dinner tonight?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, just, I think we only counted one or two deer on the side of the road. You go to Jersey, they're all over the place. Nobody's picking them up. Like, you guys are really good. This is like amazing. But yeah, so people were feeding the deer. People were feeding the deer. They had nothing else to do. They're like, we got freeloaders at home. Why not feed these guys? Because they're nicer to us. Look, we can get Bambi to eat out of our hand, So they were feeding the deer, and the deer in New Jersey, they're Guido deer in Jersey, right? Really, they were getting like, we're not afraid of you. We're just coming up to you, and they're getting killed all over the road because they're like, oh shoot, look at this. They're like, look, food truck, bam, all over. It's crazy. So yeah, they're bringing their friends. They're ringing the doorbell. They're getting very aggressive. In Jersey, like they can't see. I'm 57 years old. Deer 50 years ago looked different than they look today. Okay, I'm not kidding. They've deformed. They've like huge necks. They're eating rigatoni, spaghetti and meatballs. All right, these are real Guido deer. And you know what? 40% of the deer have COVID. Did you know that? They carry COVID. And the cutest things carry the worst diseases. Deer, they have ticks, they have fleas, and then they have COVID. What else do they carry? They have Lyme disease. You guys have any Lyme disease around here? Oh yeah, that's what we were thinking about up here. Like, I wonder if they have Lyme disease up here. Like, it's a family trait, in Jersey. But anyway, so 40% of the deer carry COVID, and the cutest things carry the worst diseases. It's like strippers. Right? It's a lot of strippers named Bambi.
Sure is.
When you used to work here?
Welcome to Tawanda.
Tawanda. All I kept thinking was Rwanda. If I'm on the wrong side, you guys are going to skin me. I got so much to talk to you guys about. I mean, I don't even know what to skip at this point. Deer. Here's another thing. Everybody thinks that deer are mesmerized by the lights in the road. You ever hear that? They just stare at the lights. Maybe they just want to die.
Dumb and Dumber.
They just go, oh, I just want to die. In Jersey, that's funny. That's not funny out here. But, in our case, you guys don't have any lights in the road, so they can't get mesmerized. I'm worried about when we get home. Like, how are we going to get home from here? We don't have any lights in the road. We're going to do this by braille? Like, I don't know.
You want to go down the street, bucket of blood?
What was that?
Oh, you'll get to see the town.
The local bar.
Oh my God.
Local bar. That was our bar, bucket of blood. Bucket of blood.
Bucket of blood.
That was the bar name.
Oh, really? What happened to Bucket of Blood?
Now it's named something else.
Should I ask how we got its name?
Now it's on Wayside.
Okay. All right. It looks like a lot of places went out of business here. Is the population decreasing? It doesn't look like it here. You guys stick around? Not anymore? People are leaving town? Oh, wow. Well, they'll come back, don't worry. As long as they stay in their parents' house, in the basement, they'll be all right.
Actually, don't come out of their parents' house.
All right, so I'll go into online dating, because you guys, how many people have online dating? Done online? Yep. Yeah? She looks real smiley when she's saying it too. Like, how happy, how good was it? Not that great? Anybody else? Any success stories? Any of you guys? Online dating, which site? Facebook. Okay. Did he creep you out? This was not a cleaner situation. online dating. I said that in my profile that I like to travel. So I got Uber drivers and limo drivers. They're like, oh, I kept going to the airport. I got personal trainers, a lot of personal trainers for some reason. And like after a while, they're like, I couldn't come unless I heard, come on, one more. You can do it, Max. Give me one more. I dated a mortician. That was interesting, right? Anybody ever date a mortician? He got a hard on when I choked. That was crazy, yeah. I dated a Jewish hunter. Any hunters in here? One hunter. One hunter? I only see one hunter. What's the likelihood of that? Yeah.
Write that down. They hunt down on the end.
Where? You guys hunt? People? What do you know? Whoever it is. New Yorker? I'm not even going to an estimator. I'll just leave that. Oh my God, I'm just going to keep that going here. Yeah, I had a whole bit on hunting, dating that hunter, because that was pretty wild. Yeah, he told me, I said, what are your weekend activities? And he's like, the first day, 5 inches thick. Ooh, second day, 7 inches thick. I was getting excited. And he goes, oh, ice fishing. He's talking about ice. Yeah, he's talking about ice. It's terrible. I'm going to try to keep this clean. Get
No, I don't know.
Something good. You guys have nicknames for each other? I'm sure you do. You guys like a group, you have nicknames. You have nicknames for anybody? No nicknames?
Not allowed.
Not allowed to have nicknames?
None that we're gonna say out loud.
Yeah, he said that.
Oh. This is great. I gotta do this.
Boogie.
Boogie?
Yeah, boogie.
Boogie. What does that mean?
I don't know. Some guy at work calls people boogie. I don't know. That's
Okay. I'm not gonna say boogeyman, like boogie?
boogie. I don't know. That's what he calls people. He calls people boogie.
Are you people?
Yeah, I'm part of it. I'm part of the boogie. He don't have. I don't know. He just those. He doesn't know their names, so he calls them boogie. Yeah, I don't know.
He's gonna keep going with this boogie. I'm sorry.
Boogie,
The aliens
boogie.
have not arrived here, have they yet? Or have they integrated? I don't know. I can't tell. We're waiting. I had a couple nicknames. I had a nickname for one boyfriend. His name was Maytag because he'd drop a load and leave. I had a name for my son. I call him Tadpole because his father was the last toad I kissed. And then I called myself Scrap Metal Mama. And you're like, what is Scrap Metal Mama? Well, my son used to get into a lot of car accidents, and I need to make money on this. So the first one was a Yugo, and I got $50. The second one was a minivan, and I got $150. Now he drives a tractor trailer. I can't wait for the next accident because Mama needs a TV.
You gotta make sure you list you as a beneficiary, though.
Oh, listen to her. You had life insurance policy?
What? No, my husband does, but I'm beneficiary.
Oh, listen to her. She's really good at this. Who's your dad?
Oh, my dad's in prison right now.
Oh, okay. You got that.
Wasn't me.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna leave you guys with this. My mom is really special. She has macular degeneration in one eye, and she's got cataracts in the other eye. But that doesn't stop her from being an Uber driver and doing facial tattoos. I mean, like I know who her customers are because they have tattoos straight across the eyes all the way down. Okay. She also loves YouTube, and I come into the house and I see her, and she's got olive oil on her face and mayonnaise in her hair, and I don't know whether I should kiss her or eat her. She also, you know how you touch something and it turns on? You know, like you touch your phone and it turns on. Well, my mother's a hitter. She hits her radio and it turns on. She hits her phone, she hits her lights and they turn on. Then she hits me and I get turned on. Anybody have kids in here? 2 people have kids, 3 people have kids. Okay.
Everybody.
So I'm gonna leave you with this because I'm getting like the light right now. I was a physics teacher for years. I wanted my son to learn physics. So when he would fall and hit his head, I'd say, "Oh, that's gravity." And when he wouldn't clean his room and I threw his toys out the window, I'd say, "That's projectile motion." And when he would poop and there would be sinkers and floaters, I'd say, "That's density." And the fact that your father and I don't get along, that's called friction. There's one thing I learned about kids, and that kids are like cars. The minute they leave the manufacturer, they lose their value. So when my son was in my stomach, he was worth $20,000 on the black market. The minute he left me, he cost me $20,000. What does that tell you? Don't wait too long to sell your children. Thank you guys. I'm Max Sheppard. Have a great night. Okay, we have a tip jar here if anybody's interested. It was a long one. Thanks.
Because you're gonna come say Marlene.
I sent her a picture of it.
Yes, thank you so much. Really? I paid up the salad. Which way you want to go? And there are deer, so be very careful.
Yeah, there'll be more on your way out.
Lots of
Because when it gets dark, that's when
They like to come after dark.
One left.
Pennsylvania deer, huh?
They're big.
They'll be coming out any
Don't worry. You'll see the New York plates and run.
They're gonna